Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is corporate organic or corporate buyouts. It happens all the time where you go to a health food store and you're buying something that you think is a small producer, you think they are doing everything right, you think that, you think you've been buying a brand or you're buying a brand that has an owner, an independent owner, and that's a small company. And it turns out that the company is owned by a massive corporation. See, these massive corporations, these huge companies, know how important it is to be in the market of the organic game, the non-GMO game. So how do most of these big companies enter into that market? They buy brands. They acquire companies that have done it so well for so long. Now, for me, I think that's a sad situation, personally. I don't like giving my money to huge corporations. I don't, I think it's, I don't want to say conflict of interest, but I think that how can you have a company that's doing both, that's both doesn't care about the majority of their product line, and then all of a sudden they buy something else, and are they going to change it? Are they not going to change it? Or what will change? Because inevitably, something always changes in these corporate buyouts. Something always happens. Something always changes. And it might not be immediate. It might be they might leave the production facility up for 6 months, 6 years. They might shut it down right away. They might move the jobs. They might decrease the jobs. Typically, when a big company buys another brand, they realize that they can do it more efficiently, and they can do it, how do I just want to say this? More efficiently, and they can produce more of it. So, for example, we had a great company here called Sunshine Burger. Sunshine Burger was right in our backyard here, just around the block, on our block, just on the back side. And what it took them all week to do with like 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 people, they can now do that in a factory in 4 hours with one person on a modified machine line, okay? So these companies realize, well, we can just absorb it into our production, like Rolling Rock and Budweiser. Budweiser bought Rolling Rock, they shut down Latrobe, they bring over a fraction of the jobs, even if any of the jobs, because they already have the infrastructure to produce these products in their facilities. It's just a matter of running the line a little extra, adding this into their production. And now they can see, so for Budweiser, it's a matter of making the same or more revenue that Rolling Rock was making, gross revenue, okay? Now, Budweiser has all these distribution networks. Same thing with the company that bought Sunshine Burger, Jones Farms. So they have these huge distribution networks. They're already in every grocery store. They're already in every store across the country. Well, Rolling Rock might not have been in every store across the country. So now what happens is Budweiser says, okay, you're going to get on our truck. You're going to be in our plant, you're going to go through our distribution and through our billing, and it's going to be seamless to get Rolling Rock across the country. So now they can make Rolling Rock without the overhead of having their own factory and their own employees and all that. It just gets absorbed right into Newark, New Jersey's Budweiser plant. It's as simple as that. So here's a case, this is all over the headlines now, Applegate Farms. And Applegate Farms is a great company. If you eat hot dogs, if you eat deli meats, if you're into sausages, I recommend looking at Applegate. They have a whole organic line. I mean, that's all they do is really organic, nitrate free. They're super, super strict on all that. Now here's the neat thing about Applegate that I've always admired about Applegate. Okay, I don't personally eat meat, but here's one thing that really has shocked me. Applegate has been around 27 years, I believe. The one thing about Applegate from the very beginning was the CEO in the very beginning, for the first 6 months, he worked a normal work week. After that, he worked 1 day a week. And here's a company that was doing $40 million, $50 million. And he was only working 1 day a week. So he trusted his employees. He set up systems. He had a great staff. He probably paid his staff well, I'm assuming. I don't know that part of the equation. But it just shows an example of how a company can be run really well, serve a fantastic product, and where the CEO does not have to be there micromanaging and controlling every single step of the operation. For me, a lot of people say, oh, Marcus, you own a restaurant, you must work all these hours. I'm at my restaurant because I enjoy my restaurant, I love my restaurant. But let me tell you something, when I have an event, I'm not here. When I have something, I'm not here. When my kids have a baseball game, I'm not here. So it's not like I'm married to my restaurant. A lot of other restaurant owners are like, they don't know how I do it. Well, I empower my staff, I trust my staff, I train and train and train Oh, and by the way, I train and train and train my staff. So it's one of those things where it's a situation you create. And he created a situation where he could have a multi-million-dollar company from the get-go on working just 1 day a week. So on the business aspect side of it, the business operation aspect, it looked fantastic, okay, for the CEO. Now, Applegate was owned by the McDonald family and Dietz and Watson right now, two independents, and they sold out to Hormel. Hormel is a mega conglomerate in the meat world. As a chef going up through the ranks, we used Hormel a lot in restaurants. Hormel makes prosciutto, they make hams. And I got to tell you, they had the market cornered on like a domestic value prosciutto. I mean, it was. I would think every restaurant I probably worked at some point, not every restaurant, but a lot of restaurants were using a ton of Hormel products. It's an inexpensive, it's an economy, it's a value-added item. Now, besides doing prosciutto, the Hormel company's been around since 1891. They also own several other brands like Muscle Milk, Jennie-O, Farmer John, Dinty Moore, Chi-Chi's, Muscle Milk, I said, La Victoria, which is a brand you can like buy, like it's a Spanish food, you can see like La Victoria, Chipotle peppers, Skippy, so Skippy peanut butter, and Spam. Spam is probably their most notable product. So this is a huge company listed on the Fortune 500. So they just jumped into the organic game. Hormel jumps into the organic game and buys Applegate Farms for $775 million. So for the CEO, for the McDonald family, for Dietz and Watson, that is a huge payout. Huge payout. I don't know what Applegate was currently doing in sales. They were doing 70, 80 million, but I just don't quote me on that. But that's probably what they were doing. Maybe they were doing $100 million, but to get paid $775 million for your brand, for your product, for your ideals and philosophy. Because really, Hormel is buying here. Hormel's buying the brand reputation of Applegate. They're not buying the employees. They're not buying the production facility. They're not buying any of that. They are buying the label. Now, will Hormel continue to operate in the Applegate factory? That's to be determined. Maybe they already know. Maybe that's already been done. Maybe I missed that in some of the news feeds. But I can guarantee you Hormel can make those products in their factory, in their factory production facility, much cheaper and much quicker, and get it. So I believe Applegate's in New Jersey and Hormel's in Minnesota. I'm not sure if there's any other plants, any other production facilities around the country. But for Hormel, for these companies, it's about merging it all under one roof, under one shipping, under one economy. So this is my major problem with buying from corporations. This is why I don't do this in my restaurant, where I don't support these massive corporations. Because they'll go in and they'll shut plants down, like I explained with Rolling Rock and Budweiser. Same thing with Diageo and Johnny Walker. Hundreds and hundreds of people lost their job in a small town in Scotland. So for me as a restaurant owner, I work hard for my money, and most of my guests work very hard for their money. So why, when you come into my restaurant, I'm not going to give your money to some big corporation who's destroying jobs in small communities, in bigger sized communities, or just basically raping these business models, raping these smaller business models that were set up to succeed, that were set up in these smaller communities. Now I understand some of these businesses are going to go under. Hormel was not going to go under. Johnny Walker was not going to go under. Rolling Rock was not going to go under. It's one thing when a company comes in and says, okay, we'll invest in you, we'll save you, this and that. But a lot of these takeovers are just basically corporate greed. So Hormel wants a stake in the organic industry. They want it bad, and they're willing to pay $775 million for a stake in the organic industry versus launching their own Hormel Organic, their own, whatever it is, organic line. This is how crazy this is. The organic industry plays a strong force when it's so undertapped. It's so it's underdeveloped right now. So we know Walmart has, Costco has, a lot of these big stores have, but all the products aren't there for mass distribution. This is why when you start looking at the organic who owns who in organics, and you can do a Google search, who owns who in the organic world, and you'll find tons of websites, tons of listings, and you'll see it's amazing to find out that most of your favorite organic brands are not independently owned. They're owned by these massive corporations. So now all of a sudden for me it becomes a game, and how do I balance not buying from a huge massive corporation? So sometimes, there's some certain things that I buy that I know that, okay, this is coming from General Mills, but it's an organic label, and it's for me it hurts, but for me in my restaurant, I'm not perfect, but I look at every single thing and say, how can I make this better? Okay, so I'm buying Muir Glen tomatoes. Muir Glen's owned by General Mills. How can I buy an independent brand of organic, BPA-free tomatoes and this and that? So for me, it's always on the research mode. So that's one thing different about me and other chefs. Other chefs just buy anything from Cisco. Oh, that's a good brand. It has a good reputation. Oh, Applegate's a good brand, so let me just keep buying it. Oh, Muir Glen's a good brand, so let me just keep buying it, without understanding the consequences of what these companies have done to smaller workforces and smaller communities. And it's not only in America, like I mentioned, Johnny Walker. They do it abroad as well. So it's just not here in America. So for me, my business philosophy is, how can I support a small independent, whether it's here in America or whether it is abroad, whether it's in Europe, whether it's wherever it is coming from? Is that company still truly an independent? Is my money and your money going to a CEO's third vacation home, or is it going to an owner's dance lessons for his daughter? I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.